Thank you so much for finding time once again and joining us on the Camnet TV Breakfast Show of today being the 28th of November 2022. Good morning to you, our viewers. I am your host, Miriam Kaimba, and we have a lot of things lined up for you this morning. But anyway, before I go much into details talking about what I have for you this morning in studio, I am not alone. I'm joined by my beautiful colleague. This time around, it's not Zipporah. Every time I introduce beautiful colleague, people would always think it's Zipporah. But anyway, I'm joined by amazing Katamanda this morning, and we will be running you through the program from 07 hours to 9 hours. And please, our viewers who are watching us live on Facebook, and if you want to take part of our discussion this morning, you can just drop us a message. And those watching us live in the comfort of your home, please give us a call and we hear on what you think about our topic of discussion this morning. Good morning, amazing.
Good morning, Miriam. How are you?
I am good. How is your mood like this morning?
As you can see, I'm in red, so the mood is ready.
Christmas, almost.
Christmas ready. Ready for everything and ready for the day.
Yeah, it looks like days are moving very fast, huh?
They are moving very fast. I think
soon we'll be in December. Soon it will be 2023. Exactly.
And we'll be looking back.
We'll be looking back. Anyway, what are some of your resolution that you think you have achieved so far that you had set up for 2022?
Reading the news. That would be the highlight. That would be the highlight. Reading the news, that would be the highlight. Oh. And I'm hoping next year I'll be more serious about it.
Interesting. Yeah. So anyway, before we go into our program this morning, what do we have for our viewers?
We start on a good note. We all know exercising is very important. We need to keep fit. I'm not going to join you because I'm in a dress, so I'll leave the exercising.
No, but anyway, did you exercise in the morning?
I did. Yes.
The way you say I did, you know.
I exercised yesterday. Today, no, because I had to, get ready. I exercised yesterday, so at least I have to go a day.
Really?
Then tomorrow.
Exercising, it's every day, Katamanda. Even our viewers there, they're even shocked.
No, I'll exercise after work. Don't worry. I'll exercise after work. I'll go to the gym.
Okay.
So now let's get to our morning boost.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cholwe from Cho's Fitness Gym. We're a fully functional gym located along Twin Palm Road in Kablonga, right by Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia. So we have various classes that happen from Monday to Friday. We have aerobics, we have boot camp, we have step aerobics, we have spinning, we have kettlebell classes. They happen from 18 to 19 hours every day, and we are open from 06 until 20 hours. That's Monday to Friday. Then Saturdays 6 to 12, and then Sundays we are closed, and most public holidays we are open 6 to 12. So you're welcome to visit and come and train with us. And for now, I'll show you certain exercises you could do from. Thank you. Hi ladies and gentlemen, Cholwe again here. I'm going to show you a few exercises you can do to get you fit, to get the blood pumping. So with every set of exercises, you need to start first with stretch, which is very, so we'll do a few stretches. And you place your hands together and touch the floor, and you can hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can go side to side, you twist. That's 1. We're gonna go for 10, 2, that's 3, that's 4, that's 5, that's 6, that's 7, that's 8, that's 9, and 10. All right, then you're gonna place your hands like this from the back, Hands behind, and then you're gonna stretch that back and hold it for 10 seconds. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you wanna stretch, hands behind and stretch. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can go for 10 here. That's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then behind, that's 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then you can stretch your feet. Just hold it for 10 seconds. If balancing is hard, you can always hold somewhere. So you hold it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then the other side, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay. So the first exercise we'll do 1 minute. This one is good. Basic jumping on the up and back with the hands. We'll go for 1 minute and make sure your hands touch. So modified version, if you can't jump, you can always go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to show you the full jump in just a minute. It's 6, 8, 9, Okay, that is 1 minute. That's approximately 55. So the next one, push-ups. We'll do the modified push-ups. So we'll go for 1 minute of push-ups as well. So with the modified version, you want to place your knees in this position, move to the front. Here we go. All right, and you go down. So the key is for your elbows to point out. That's 2. This is the modified version. Like that. If you can't see from this angle, I'm gonna turn. Like that, modified. If that's too hard, place your feet on the ground and go like that. So you repeat the push-ups for 1 minute. And now I go into the full push-up. Go down, stretch. Stretch. I like to breathe when I go up. Others, you can go as fast as you can.
I hope you enjoyed that morning exercise. For me, myself, Miriam, and my colleague, amazing, we tried 1 or 2 things pulling out there, but I didn't do the other part, my press-ups.
I'm also not for the
But anyway, Katamanda, just for our viewers at 08 hours, We will be joined in studio by ambassadors of National Unit in Community Welfare, where we are going to be talking about gender and development. You know, amazing, we're in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which started actually from the 25th and goes up to the 10th of December. The 10th of December being Human Rights Day. So this day, basically from the 25th to the 10th of December, we are looking at, you know, ending violence against women and the barriers, you know, trying to uplift women in society. So our viewers, if you're watching, please take part in our conversation by calling us, or those watching us live on Facebook, you can drop us your messages. We'll be able to read them through. And exactly at 7:30 hours, we will be opening our phone line so our viewers out there, can take part in the conversation this morning. But anyway, going direct into our healthy corner, let's see what the doctors have for us this morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Mainga Nalube. I'm with the Medical Women's Association of Zambia. Welcome to Health Corner. So this week, we'll be discussing a very important topic. This topic is high blood pressure. I'm sure most of you have heard about it, know someone living with it, because it's a very, very common topic. Another name for this is hypertension. So if you've heard the word hypertension being used, the person using it is simply referring to high blood pressure. So this being a very common topic, it's very important that we are acquainted with it and we know what exactly it is, so that we know how to take care of our relatives with it and even take care of ourselves, and also to prevent it. So today we'll be talking about what it is and the risk factors. So I'll explain later what risk factors are. So to begin with, we'll have to understand what blood pressure is. Before we know if it's high or low, we have to understand what it actually is. So blood pressure is the force with which blood passes through your arteries or hits your artery walls when it's coming from the heart. So I've talked about arteries. We know about the blood vessels in our body. So arteries are simply the blood vessels that take blood away from the heart to the other parts of the body, to the rest of the body. And then the other type of blood vessels that we have are the veins. These are the blood vessels that take blood away from your body back to the heart and then to the lungs. So in this case, I'm talking about the arteries, which are the ones that take blood from the heart to the other parts of the body. So we've mentioned that blood pressure is the force with which blood moves through these arteries. So it can either be high or low, but in this case, we're looking at high blood pressure. So before we look at that, I want to just discuss what factors affect blood pressure. So we've got three main factors that affect blood pressure. Our first factor is the cardiac output. So what's cardiac output? This is the amount of blood being pushed from the heart into the arteries. That's the cardiac output, simply put. And then we have blood volume. This is the amount of blood that's moving through your bloodstream. And then our third factor is resistance in the arteries. So I've mentioned three things. These are the factors that affect your blood pressure. So we've mentioned resistance in the arteries, we've mentioned the blood volume, and we've mentioned cardiac output. So any defect or any problem in these three things will cause your blood pressure to either become high or low. So I'll give an example of, let's say maybe resistance is increased. So if resistance in your arteries is increased, this will cause your blood pressure to become high. So we'll discuss how these three factors affect our blood pressure when we start looking at risk factors. For now, you should know that we've got these three factors that affect our blood pressure. So there are two types of high blood pressure. We have primary and secondary. So I'll explain what secondary is and I'll explain what primary is. Secondary high blood pressure, or otherwise known as secondary hypertension, is high blood pressure that's caused by an already existing disease, condition, or even certain drugs. We have certain drugs that have a side effect of increasing your blood pressure. So if you already have an underlying disease or condition that predisposes you or puts you at risk of having high blood pressure, this type of high blood pressure is called secondary high blood pressure. And then we also have primary, which has no known underlying cause. So this one just starts on its own. It has no known already existing. So this is in a person that does not have an already existing condition that predisposes them to high blood pressure. So we've talked about primary and secondary. Now let's look at the risk factors. Before I go into them, I'll explain what a risk factor is. So a risk factor is something that puts you or gives you a higher chance of having a certain disease or condition. But it does not mean that when you have this risk factor, you will definitely get the disease. No. So there are certain things that you could do to avoid or prevent or shorten the time or elongate the time, in which you get this disease, right, or condition. So if you have risk factor, it doesn't mean that you will get the disease. It just means that you can now put in preventative measures to avoid getting this condition. So one risk factor is family history. We have heard people, and even when you go to the clinics, people ask, the doctors will ask you, does anyone in your family have high blood pressure? Yes. So when they ask you that, it's because someone in your family having high blood pressure puts you at an increased chance or risk of having high blood pressure also in your life. Another risk factor is old age. So as people grow older, the chances of getting high blood pressure are increased. And then another risk factor is obesity and a sedentary lifestyle. What do I mean by a sedentary lifestyle? People who do not exercise at all. So you're always seated, you're always lazing around, or you have a job where you're always seated. Make sure you always put exercise into your lifestyle. Another risk factor is increased salt diet. So when we start to talk about the treatment later on, we're going to talk about how you can avoid having hypertension by changing your lifestyle, which are reducing these risk factors that I'm talking about. Another risk factor is a high alcohol intake. Another risk factor could be already existing conditions, which I've already talked about. Examples are diabetes and kidney disease. Another risk factor is smoking. And the last risk factor we'll talk about is race. It has been shown in studies that people of African descent have a higher risk of having hypertension in their life compared to Caucasians. So this has been Health Corner. I'm Dr. Mainga Nalube with Medical Women's Association of Zambia. See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nalube. Quite interesting views there on high blood pressure. You know, one thing, Katamanda, that got my attention when she said, you know, people of African origin have a high risk factor of, you know, having high blood pressure. And then you ask, why is that? My question too, why is that?
I think because we're lazy. Sorry.
Really?
Please, in quotes. But we hate exercising and we hate physical exercise. So I guess that's the reason, because she's mentioned like you sitting all the time is you are risking yourself.
And she also mentioned about, you know, high intake of alcohol, smoking again. Please do take note of what the doctor said so that you avoid yourself, you know, having this certain condition. But right about now, we go direct into our money market and just see how the kwacha is performing against other currencies. So we have the British pound, they're buying at 20 kwacha 19 ngwe and selling at 20 kwacha 59 ngwe. We have the US dollar, they are buying at 16 kwacha 73 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 06 ngwe. We have the euro, they are buying at 17 kwacha 34 ngwe and selling at 17 kwacha 86 ngwe. We have the South African rand, they are buying at 0 97 ngwe and selling at 99 ngwe. Already the US dollar, just like we were talking with Zipporah, it's already in 17 quarter 06 ngwe. Interesting views there. Well, but anyway, we hope the best for our currency, and we have economists telling us that even as much as the quarter has gone, we haven't seen, a rise in the price of different commodities. But right about now, we'll go now direct into zooming our headlines and see what stories we did have yesterday. So one of the interesting stories that we carried out yesterday, that was done by our colleague Prudence Chota Katamanda, was that the National Union of Public and Private Educators in Zambia was challenging government to make agriculture, information and communication technology, which is ICT, and entrepreneurship subject compulsory in schools.
Definitely, I agree with that.
Really?
I agree with that. Yes, because, we can't just be teaching students minus things that are very important to us, because we know agriculture plays a huge role in our development. So it should be compulsory, as well as entrepreneurship, because we know a lot of people that are successful are entrepreneurs compared to those that have white-collar jobs. So we should make it compulsory in schools.
Yeah, we should. In fact, government currently, the Ministry of Education is reviewing the curriculum, our curriculum, and getting various submissions from stakeholders. So we see that this will also be put into consideration. I think last time the president, last week, he did mention if a child is very good in plumbing and and other skills, they should be given a go-ahead, and just not them focusing on, let me finish my grade 12, let me...
Exactly.
Yes, going to school, finishing your grade 12 is good, but you need skills, because at the end of the day, when you complete your school, you are waiting for a white-collar job.
Will come to help.
Yes, because most of the time we always wait for the white-collar jobs. And then that has proved a huge problem, because we have seen the high numbers of unemployment in the country. Despite having the CDF, Constituency Development Fund, which can cushion, the high unemployment levels we have in the country, but we have seen that it's not it's not really matching. We still have a huge number of young people there who are not employed. So it's definitely we need to have this skill. Yeah.
And the skills come in handy, because at the end of the day, before you apply for the CDF, you have to make sure that you have a skill that you have. Because it's not just about the white-collar job. If I have a white-collar job, if I apply for CDF, what exactly am I going to, so it has to be made compulsory in schools, where children are encouraged to grow their skills. So that in that way, we're helped, because we have seen how they come in handy. It's not just about... I feel also, like they said, it's good that they're reviewing the curriculum, because it's very, very important that they do that. We have a lot of youth that are frustrated. They've done courses that they don't even love, skills that... But if we focus on skills, we'll have a lot of employed people, because they'll be self-employed at the end of the day. So it's good that they're reviewing, and I hope that the outcome will be good and will be welcomed by people, because at the end of the day, people we love criticizing, we might end up criticizing the decision that will be made again. So
anyway, I love that, and I hope that we can see this come into fulfillment. But anyway, you, our viewers, who is watching us out there, what is your thought with regards to this? Please give us a call or drop us a message on Facebook, and we'll be able to read it through. But right about now, let's get direct into playing that clip. We'll continue with our discussion.
Zambia has for many years relied on an ancient school curriculum that was last revised in 2013 through to early 2014. The Zambia school curriculum has made optional subjects such as agriculture, business and entrepreneurship, information communication technology (ICT) among others, while subjects such as English have been made compulsory, and those that do not perform well in English are at times even stopped from attaining tertiary education. The United Party for National Development (UPND) administration, under the leadership of President Hakainde Hichilema, are keen to revise the school curriculum, which the Ministry of Education, working with the Curriculum Development Center, have embarked on. The National Union of Public and Private Educators of Zambia, NUPES, has since appealed to the government to make compulsory in school subjects such as agriculture, ICT and entrepreneurship.
We've gone to an extent of creating a situation where we are promoting much of the English language. In the end, we have citizens that are able to speak very, very good English, and yet they have no food to eat because agriculture has been ignored, ICT has been ignored, entrepreneurship has been ignored. So we want to see a situation where all these I've mentioned become compulsory and English language be taken just as a pass, not a situation where you cannot go anywhere without passing English language. I think that situation is supposed to be outdated.
NUPES General Secretary also adds that there is need to revamp institutions of learning that offer agriculture and entrepreneurship skills to ensure that more teachers are trained in these key subjects.
Is that a number of teachers would ignore going for those programs because why we've looked down upon them. We want to see a situation where Natural Resources Development College, NRDC, is boosted. It must be able to produce a lot of teachers of agriculture. This Ndola ICT college, it must be promoted so that there are a lot of teachers of ICT. In fact, ICT, I must make a mention that it must be compulsory to all teacher training colleges and universities so that every teacher is ICT literate.
Meanwhile, the National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NACES, has commended the Ministry of Education and the Curriculum Development Center for engaging and inviting submissions from major stakeholders for the curriculum review and has invited all Zambians to submit views about the type of education system they want for the nation.
And if they are not aware, they will not take part, they will not submit their views. In the same vein, we would want to invite all Zambians to seize this opportunity, visit the Ministry of Education and submit their views on the possible ways they think our education system can be improved upon. A lot of Zambians have complained about the poor quality of education, and this is a golden opportunity for all of us as a people to submit our views.
A competence-based curriculum is designed with a view to help learners acquire knowledge, skills, values and attitudes that are likely to equip them with competences that they can effectively use to serve society. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
And that is something that I support and I love. I don't know about you, the viewers, so you can come through using the numbers that are on your TV screens, or better yet, you can leave your comments on our Facebook page and tell us your views. What are your thoughts on the fact that they are reviewing the curriculum, and of course the fact that they are trying to make sure that ITC, entrepreneurship and agriculture, they become part and parcel, or they become compulsory in all the schools. What are your takes? And of course, in moving on, we have another story that was done by our colleague Sharon Karimbola, and this one was done. The RATSA is concerned about the number of accidents that have been taking place in the country, and I think let's just zoom in because we have seen the increase, and Alan Mate is concerned and he expresses his sadness. So let's just take a look at the story, and then when we get back, we'll give our views.
Survivors of the road traffic accidents have called for more safety measures to protect the victims. Narrating the ordeals at the commemoration of the World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims under the theme Justice, the victims unanimously called for increased signage, especially for persons with disability like the deaf. They say this will help in making sure that deaf pedestrians are protected from unsuspecting motorists.
I started going to the police to go and report about what happened to me, but the challenge that was there was that the traffic police officers, they don't know sign language, and also it became very difficult. Today we are talking about the theme, which is justice. Now, if us deaf people are not attended to by traffic police officers, even RATSA officers, how do we get justice? Because justice is already denied. There is no access to information. The only way we can communicate as deaf people is by sign language.
I know it's not easy,
but I thank God. A lot of people have been encouraging me to be strong. You know how spine is. A spine is something that holds the whole body. Once it is disturbed, everything is disturbed. I may be in pain, but I'm strong.
And speaking at the event, Road Transport and Safety Agency Board Chairperson says the statistics being recorded are still worrying, noting that 1,374 fatal crashes have so far been recorded, resulting in a total number of 1,680 deaths from January to September 2022.
Honourable Minister, MOUs do not place accountability on those responsible for delivery, and hence probably the reason why they gather dust immediately after signing. And therefore, it's time for action, time to change, time to save someone's life. Justice must be served. In serving justice, my board will work to ensure that the agency fulfills its mandate to the full expectation of the government and the people of Zambia.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Transport and Logistics Acting Permanent Secretary Stephen Mbewe says this day puts the judicial system under the spotlight, posing as a wake-up call for the institution to take up the challenge seriously.
The theme for this year's memorial program comes with an action-inspiring clarion call. Remember, support, act. Under the theme, justice. The World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims puts the spotlight on justice. This calls for our judicial system to take their place in this fight. This also calls for RATSA and Zambia Police to strengthen their capacity in accident investigations after a crash.
The World Day of Remembrance for Road Traffic Victims is a global remembrance day in which individuals whose lives were cut short or left crippled are remembered. Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Really sad there that we continue recording high numbers of accidents in our country, more than 1,000. And we are heading toward the festive season, December. This is where we always record more cases of accident on our road.
Because people take a lot of alcohol and they drive.
Yeah.
I think they should just put up a policy where if you're drunk, you shouldn't be allowed to sit in
you
the
shouldn't
front
be.
seat.
In the front seat, right?
No,
Thank you.
Shouldn't be driving. Shouldn't be driving when you're drinking.
No, but there are those measures when you're drunk, you shouldn't be driving, and if you're found, you'll be arrested. You know, there are those measures, but we have still seen
people drinking and driving. So I don't know if they should stiffen the laws. Yes, I think they should.
I think so. Maybe when you're found wanting, you should be arrested for 6 months.
I think 6 months is just way too little. Maybe they should take it even up to
a year.
Yes.
Oh my God.
At least people will be afraid and people will be scared. They will know how serious
You'll make more enemies suggesting all those things.
No,
but anyway, it's for their safety.
People. Yes, it's for their own safety.
But anyway, moving away from that, yesterday we did see the Deputy Police Spokesperson, Danny Mwale, saying that 20 suspects have been arrested in connection with the brutal attacks on police officers in Katete district of Eastern Province. The 20 that were arrested last week will be appearing in court today. And those, the 20 people who were arrested, Katamanda, a lot of people have questioned, like,
but how did they know? Because it was a mob
exactly,
justice.
it was a mob justice, because
for sure?
We saw a lot of young people in those video clips that were trending on social media. But anyway, Mr. Danwale told the media that the police in Katete have jointly charged and arrested the 20 suspects for 3 counts of malicious damage to property, 1 count of arson, and assault of police officer contrary to the laws of Zambia. He further says, however, 2 suspects who were aged between 37 and 29 that were apprehended last Saturday with the 20 have been released because there was no enough evidence against them to tie them to the said offense. Yeah.
I mean, how would they know for sure? Because one would ask, like, how would you know for sure that these were the suspects? Because it was a mob justice. Everybody was taking part in attacking those police officers. Unless if you say in a case where they're the ones who initiated or who brought up the idea of saying let's beat the police officers, then maybe would agree to say, okay, it's fine if they're arrested. But as long, like you said, there's no evidence, so now what next?
So in case you didn't know exactly of what we are talking about, so last week 9 police officers were attacked by villagers in Chieftain's Kwaza area as they attempted to rescue victims of a mob justice. Police initially investigations revealed that the headman was protecting 2 suspects who are alleged to have been involved in the suspected murder of a man And then this headman was trying to, because it's an allegation, you know, you don't have sufficient evidence to say, okay, this man killed the person. So how do you just do mob justice on that person? In fact, we are told not to carry the law in our
own hands.
Yeah, it's sad. And, you know, this has, you know, set an example, just looking at the 20s who have been arrested.
And I'm sure people have learned their lesson. They now know that they need to leave everything in the hands of the law. The law will take it.
I hope they have learned their lesson, because is it in August we saw in Mazabuka district, specifically in Nega, where a police post was burnt to ashes by the people because of this issue of mob justice. I don't know.
Do you think, I'm just thinking, right? Do you think maybe the people have lost trust in the police? This is why they have decided to take up justice in their own hands. Is it that the police are not doing their job, or maybe it's just us people who are being difficult?
Katwishi, but you know, others will even tell you that we have lost trust in the police because when we call them on certain issues, on matters, they don't really show that concern. But that doesn't give you a chance, you know, to act in that barbaric act, you know, to go on the ground, attack the police officers. Those are the men and women in uniform we have entrusted, you know, to bring justice and order in our country. But if we're going to be attacking them, what are we? Okay? It's sad. It's sad. I wonder why people think like that.
It's really sad. I guess people are just frustrated. Is there maybe an institution where we can report if the police are not acting, you know, when they are called upon, or they are, because I've been in a situation where you call the police and then they tell you it's an emergency, and then they're telling you provide transport.
Those kind of stories.
So do we have somewhere where we can report them if we have such situations? Do we have like a higher
hierarchy?
Yes, where we can just report them to say we reported this and nothing has been done?
Yeah, we do have, but anyway, we hope for the best. I know these are the complaints which have come in from various communities where they have been attacked. They call the police, the first thing they ask you, sometimes though you would call them and say, okay, this person needs to be arrested, or he was found in a very bad act. Then they'll tell you, and then
can you imagine?
Yeah, and then you get to wonder, but you know, I'm just an ordinary citizen. I do not have the experience or the exposure of how I should apprehend someone and take him to the police. What if at the end of the day you end up beating up the person?
This is what happens now. I don't know really what the situation was, but the fact that there's no evidence, the people are frustrated, thinking the police is not acting. So now let's take justice in our own hand. And this is why we have even seen these cases where now people are taking mob justice, they're taking justice in their own hands. So I just wish that the police would, you know, just change how they do things. Not that we're judging them, they're not doing anything. No, they are doing something, but we just hope and wish that they do things differently so that the people also can have trust in them.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, just reading one of the comments that we have on the earlier story we played on Nupace. This is Sam Kelvin Chichi. He says, I support this because if entrepreneurship subject is introduced in schools, it produces massive future businessmen and women which are going to do well in business, because business is something difficult to do without knowledge. Yeah, so you need the knowledge at a very tender age. While you're still in school, someone grooms you. By the time you reach your tertiary education, even if you don't get a white-collar job, you still have an idea and be able to
do business.
Yeah, on how to do business.
No, it's good. And I know it's a welcome move, because people have been complaining to say, I am in school, I'm having all these subjects that are not even going to benefit me. In the
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about history. Anyway, a broken human. I know we should appreciate, you know, our culture and just learning about these things, but how do you even apply those in your daily?
How? So I think everybody is on board, and I think everybody will just support the move of saying, guys, let's just focus on the things that are going to help us in the future. Just like in other countries, how they do it. If someone wants to be a doctor, we have seen young people who are 24 being doctors, and then you start wondering, like, how did she become a doctor? It's because in some countries, if they see someone has got interest in becoming a doctor, they'll just nurture them in the subjects that are going to help them to become a doctor. And like here, where we have all these subjects that are not even going to, like, in any way, for lack of a better term, benefit you. You know how they're not even going to benefit you in any way.
It's just part of history, you know, just for you to have the knowledge of history, but basically in just helping you, like in your daily career. I don't know.
I don't know. And we will agree to disagree. But at the end of the day, we're just happy that at least something is being done. They are looking into it. They are trying to change things. And I hope that we'll see a lot of...
And you know, my other concern is, as we are, you know, bring this on board, as they're trying to review, Katamanda, you will understand that in the rural parts of Zambia, we do not, most of the villages do not have electricity. So when we're saying that we should bring ICT subjects to be compulsory in school, the question will be, how will the pupils, the learners in the village in Changombo, you know, benefit as well? We should also consider that.
Yeah, the thing is, this is the government that is reviewing. So meaning they have plan B, because they know those guys are in the
most of the time we have seen them doing all these of things, but you know, at the end of the day, it affects learners in these villages in the rural parts of Zambia. Because imagine they bring to you on during the exam, your grade 7 exam, they bring what's a computer, what's the what.
You have
never used it before.
You don't know how it works.
Oh, you only know the theory part. Okay, you do not know how you have to operate with the computer. You don't know how the mouse works. You don't know which one is the monitor. It's sad.
It's really sad.
I feel, you know, they're being left out.
Yeah, they are being left out.
If we're going to be talking about quality education, to achieving quality education by 2030, I feel they're being left out.
They are being left out. And this is why you and I should take it upon ourselves to advocate that these people who are in rural areas, they also need this information.
Exactly. I hope there are various, you know, civic leaders and area members of parliament are also taking that into consideration as they review that they should, you know, these learners in these rural parts of Zambia, you know, should not also be left behind. But anyway, moving forward, we are now transitioning into our next segment this morning, where we'll be shortly joined by ambassadors of National Unity and Community Welfare, where we're going to be looking at gender and development. Right about now, we take a short break and we will be right back.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Television, not just another channel.
Good news, the rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. House-grafted avocado plants, fruiting within 2 to 3 years, for sale at only 90 kwacha each. And ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Thank you so much for staying tuned to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Like I mentioned earlier before we went on the break, that we'll be joined by ambassadors of National Unit and Community Welfare, President who is Collins Mulova, who is going to help us to discuss various issues. Among them, our topic of discussion this morning, which is gender and development. Good morning and welcome to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show.
Thank you so much.
We are glad to have you on set. How is your morning so far?
The morning is so good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, just going direct, before we dip direct into our topic of discussion this morning, what do you advocate for, you guys? What are you, the ambassadors of National Unit and Community Welfare?
As the name of the organization states, we are advocating for unity and also togetherness in our country, Zambia. And then not only that, we are also trying to make sure that we curb gender blindness that has been there for so long. And then we are also trying to curb tribalism in Zambia, trying to curb streetism that has to do with street kids. And then we are also trying to make sure that we support community-led initiatives where development is concerned.
Okay. Sure. Interesting. So how long has the organization been in place?
It's been now 11 months since we got registered with registrars of NGOs.
So. Interesting. So let's talk about why is gender equality important?
Yeah, gender equality is very important because it promotes equal status in actually lives of the people. That is to do with both males and also females. Sure. So once we promote gender equality, we'll be able even to develop as a country in a good way, such that everyone will be involved in each and every activities that are being implemented. Let's talk of actually political environment. If we include a lot of women there, youths there, we will find that a country will be developed, will be well developed in the sense that everyone is putting a hand to make sure that we move forward as a country.
When it comes to the political circle, do you feel women are also given the equal opportunity, the equal chance to thrive?
Of course, according actually to the Constitution of Zambia, under the laws of Zambia, it encourages actually everyone to participate, meaning that both males and females, as I've said earlier. But the thing is, it's like there is that blindness which comes in to say, no, females cannot participate. But when it comes to Constitution, it allows everybody to participate. But the only thing which is hindering participation actually when it comes to women in politics is that there are those sentiments to say, no, they cannot do it. And there are a lot of things that in political environment which they cannot actually manage. So those are just actually, we call them gender biasless in language, whereby it's hindering a certain actually sex or gender to participate.
Sure. My question would be, who is really like to be blamed for this gender, as you have described it? So who can we blame? Is it that the females don't want to take up the roles, or maybe it's the males that are really looking down on the females to say they can't do this?
Okay, as for me, I won't sideline who is supposed to actually to be blamed, because the first thing which is supposed to be done is sensitization. We need to sensitize, like I've come here so that we talk about it. We give the much needed information to the people. The government of the country has to be going into different locations of Zambia so that they disseminate information. So it's up to the government actually, especially maybe some ministries to do with gender, to go out there, they sensitize people, they educate people about the importance of participating in actually political environment. And then when it comes to us as gender, I'm sure the main emphasis is to men. It's not really that women are sidelining themselves to say no, they cannot participate. Sometimes there is that full of patriarchal type of leadership whereby only men who want to be there. Yes, to be in parliament, to be maybe presidents, yes, such things. So, yes.
So the important thing is just disseminating information to the maybe female folks and as well as the male folks.
Yes, for sure.
We are in the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, and when we look at various, just looking at the police report, the 2022 third quarter gender-based violence police report, we have continued seeing that the numbers keeps on increasing despite you people coming on board and different various stakeholders like yourself coming on board and advocating for this in order to eliminate violence against women. Do you think, as at now, even as we are commemorating these 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, we are heading toward the right direction?
Yeah, what I can say is we can eradicate actually gender-based violence by making sure that we report those problems that are surrounding Zambia. If we see that there are those gender-based violences, let's be reporting to police. We have NGOs out there, community-based organizations, that can help in order to curb the what can I say, gender biasness, so to say. So yeah, we really need to involve even the community itself. Each person has got a mandate to say if he or she sees something bad, he or she can report to the police and also other NGOs.
Okay,
sure.
Just looking at the title itself, activism against gender-based violence against women, do you think we're also just being biased? Because we have also seen men that are being abused and they are not really confident enough to go to the public or go to the police and report these cases where they say there are females that are abusing them.
All right, if we are to talk of men, actually chances of men being abused, they are very slim. So our main emphasis basically is on women, because they are the most people that are being abused. Of course it happens whereby men are being abused by women, but
we have seen a lot of
I think I can give it should be 1% when it comes to that, because it's not a lot of men who have been abused.
But the truth is there are men that have been abused, and there are lots of them, but unfortunately they can't even go anywhere, just like you have said, because already sorry, I'm not trying to judge or anything, because already you're saying there's already like 1%, but I beg to differ. There are lots of them. So for someone who is watching, he's a male folk, he's been abused. What can you tell him, or what is it that you as an organization are doing to also help the men to come out to the open and, just tell people what they are going through, because they're being abused not only mentally but also physically? what's your word of advice to them?
Right. Actually, what I can say is let them not be feeling shy. Yeah, because what is there is that if a male has been abused, you'll find that they feel shy to report. I've been abused by a lady. Yeah, people will be like, why? A lady has abused
and
you.
And you know, we have seen certain scenarios or situations where as a man, you report a case to the police that I've been beaten by my wife, and then the police, the first thing, in fact, instead of doing their work, will be like, "What is serious? You see, don't you think that also hinders men to report certain cases where they are being violent, they are victims of violence?
For sure, it hinders a lot in the sense that there is that laughter after reporting the case. So that's why some men, even if they are being abused, they will just keep it with themselves to say, no. Because if I go to police, the policemen, policewomen will start saying this and that. So yeah, that hinders for sure.
Okay, so as an organization, your role, because as we have seen already, we have organizations that are teaching women, we have organizations that are helping the women. Your organization, do you also focus on the males? Because my focus is on men. At the end of the day, we are all humans. We all get mental torture when we're being abused. So as an organization, do you only focus on the females, or you're also focusing on the men? And if you are, what are some of the things that you are doing to ensure that you are promoting, you are also giving confidence to the men that they can, you know, come out to the open and share their stories?
All right, as ambassadors of National Unity and Community Welfare, our focus is on both males and females. And what we are doing there is to make sure that we empower both.
Okay.
Because if we are to develop or to, I can say, to promote what we call gender mainstreaming, we need to involve both men, women, boys and girls. So that if we are to bring out that empowerment, it will help both actually gender to make sure that we develop Zambia together. Yeah, that's what I can say. And then the other thing which we are doing is that sensitization is being made to both. We go around not only actually on media stations, we follow them in different communities of Zambia, districts, provinces, so that we disseminate information in different forms so that we make them understand about gender. That's what we are doing.
Looking at the violence against women, against even children, especially female children, how do you think this affects our development as a country?
Come again with your question.
When we look at violence, you know, gender-based violence against women, even against children, and then we look at developing the nation, how do you think this affects the nation when it comes to development?
Of course, it really affects the nation in the sense that if we are to abuse, I can talk of youths. Let me not just say children, but youths. If we really sideline youths from participation of maybe different activities, the country will be in the hands of those that are just on top. Hence, there will be no that development which is
just
needed.
hold your thought there. We have a caller. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Okay, we seem to lose that caller, but please do call us back and give us your comment with regards to our topic of discussion this morning. You can continue with your earlier thought, Mr. Mlo.
All right. So what it is actually children get their self-concept from the parents. From the time they are born. So our parents needs to come in so that they teach children to say any type of a job you can get into, this and that, because we have sex roles, we have gender roles. Gender roles can be performed by both males and females. Yeah, such a, maybe I can bring out faculties of teaching, faculties of nursing, faculties of law, whatever I can talk of. These faculties can be performed by both males and females. No one can be can be sidelined. That's what I can say. And then when it comes to us as children as well, we need to involve ourselves. We are not supposed to be excluding ourselves to say we cannot participate in this. Yeah, my emphasis was on actually political environment, because that's where I've seen a lot of challenges. And also some programs of law, medical courses, some they sideline themselves. You find that nursing is only meant for women according to the society. But that one can be performed by both. Anyone can get into that faculty. Teaching, you find that most of them, they are men. Faculties of law, you find that most of them, they are men. So in all those faculties, we are trying to make sure that we educate people, because we are having also a program of helping vulnerable children. So we emphasize them. We do teach them about career guidance, so that we make sure that they align themselves in those careers that they aim to become in.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So do you think developing the nation, what we can do is we start teaching the children about everything that you're talking about, or maybe we should wait for them to grow, then we start educating them?
No need. Actually, education, as it is a pivotal role which we can play. We need to go out. There are children who are, I'm sure, above 15. Nowadays, you find that some of the adverts for
just to hold you thought, we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Yes, how are you?
We are fine, thank you. You're through to the Camnet TV Breakfast Show. Who are we talking to this morning?
Yes, I'm Camnet from Kasama.
It's good to know that Kasama is watching us this morning. Please go ahead with your contribution, sir.
Yes. This organization, I think, is doing a good job. I'm so proud of a youth is able to do a good thing. These are people we need to support. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. So that is basically just commending you on the good thing that you're doing in our society. This brings me back to my other question. What was coming in your mind, as a young group of people, coming up with this idea of forming this organization to be ambassadors of national unity and communities? What did you see was the challenge for you to, put up a step and getting into this?
Actually, I can say it's a dream from my dad. Yeah.
Oh, it started with your parents?
Dad had that ambition of becoming an advocate. Yeah, now due to some maybe circumstances, he couldn't make it. But not only that, there are those problems that actually that used to happen. So we looked at it and then we said, okay, how can we eradicate these problems? Let's form an NGO so that we start now acting as an NGO. We end all the problems that are there. Of course, we have found a lot of organizations. Big organizations that are even doing well. But we are having a different way of making sure that we eradicate the problems that people are facing. Because those NGOs have been there for so many years, but these problems are just continuing. Each and every day they are happening. So how can we end? Us being youths, actually we have that potential. We have energy to make sure that we work towards the problems that Zambians are facing. As an NGO.
You have mentioned about having a lot of organizations that we have, but nothing really has changed. So you as an organization, what is it that you're doing differently to make sure that things change moving forward?
Yeah, as regards to gender, the main things that we are doing is a door-to-door thing, educating them. Because you find that some of the NGOs, of course, they just use media stations. Yeah, media station can be used like this, but it's not everybody who can pay attention to media. So there are those people that doesn't have even maybe access to media. What should we do? We need to visit them in their different locations. We go where they stay and then we disseminate information about it. Even when it comes to empowerment, this is what I've been telling even the provincial leadership where I'm coming from, that's Central Province. We do go there. We make sure that if there empowerments to coming in the province, we do tell them to say, make sure that you disseminate information. Because if you go to a radio station, it's not everybody who has a radio. If you go to a TV station, it's not everybody who has a TV. So how can we make them understand? We need to go to them, to their houses. We talk to them. We say, okay, this and that happens in this way. This and that happens in this way. With that, we'll be able even to develop as a country. You know, for now, we can say that main emphasis actually is on entrepreneurship for us, because it's not everybody who has gotten that quality education of maybe tertiary, whatever. You find that some ended in grade 7, some ended in grade 9, some ended in grade 12. Now, how can we develop even with those? Because we are, I'm sure you can bear with me that most of the people who are even doing fine are those that ended in grade 7. Because the education is in 3 different forms. Knowledge-based, and then skill-based, and then we also have entrepreneur type of actually education. So these people are doing very fine. You find that they are doing very fine as compared to those who are even employed. So what can we do? We educate them about entrepreneurship. If empowerment comes in, let's not sideline them. Let's give them, despite them ended in maybe grade 7, that doesn't matter as long as the person has got knowledge. Yeah, sure. So that's the only actually way which we are using in order for us to advocate for gender.
Interesting. Haven't you find it difficulties? I know we have various stakeholders, you know, even politicians or policymakers have called for mindset change. When it comes to mindset change, do you think we are doing enough to ensure that our people, citizens, you know, find, you know, gain this different perspective or different mindset when it comes to issues to do with entrepreneurship, issues to do with gender balance, and so on?
Yeah, mindset change has to be done for us actually to develop as a nation. As youths, like we have started, we are coming from different faculties. Like in my organization, when I consulted a lot of people, some were saying, how are we going to do it? How are we going to achieve? How are we going to do this? So questions, a lot of questions were coming in. Then I said to them that, no, as youths, we have energy. We have that potential. So we can still do it through the mindset change. If we remain positive in thinking, then we can do much. And if I would like to change my country, I would like to change myself, I would like to change my community, whatever actually faculty, I need to be the change. I need to see the change in myself. Yeah, that is what is important. Once you put that positive thinking, you'll be able to achieve what you want in life. And this is what we are doing. Our aim is to make sure that gender is promoted. And we can promote it because we have that potential. Yeah, sure.
Interesting.
Very interesting thoughts right there. I don't know, but I'm passionate about people that are in the rural areas, because we know in the town or the urban, we have people that at least are exposed to information. So as an organization, do you also reach out to people that are in the villages, people that are just in places where information is not really available to them? Are you taking up a step to reaching out to them? Because those people don't have knowledge, they just do things anyhow. They don't know that hitting a woman, or maybe not going to school, or maybe not doing business is they need to learn something. Are you doing something as an organization to reach out to them?
Yeah, rural areas of Zambia, actually, I can say that they are the target. Just recently, I was in Muchinga province with my colleagues. We went there, even the one who was called Kennedy Katongo in Kasama, we found him in Mpika because we were going around the province. So we had to go to Shwangandu constituents, we went to Shama constituents, we went to Chinsari where the former president, may he so rest in peace, Mr. Satabon in. Yeah, so we really target the rural areas, the rural parts of Zambia. so that we disseminate information. And those people, how can we disseminate information to them? It's by going through their communities. And that's what we are doing, because we know that in rural areas, there are a lot of things that hinders them from getting the much needed information. Yes. So that's our target, and we go to them, we sensitize, we educate them. Yeah, and then we do see some changes. There are people who cannot change there and then, but there are people again who can change there and then through the motivation, inspirational talks. Yeah.
Let's talk about the challenges that you face when you're trying to advocate your messages in the rural parts of the country in Zambia. I know when you're dealing with rural parts, you always have to find culture there. You know, people, it's hard very to change. But how have you find it, easier to convince and, distribute certain information to the people so that they can adopt those information? Let's talk about gender equality, of course. When you talk there, they will say, a woman's kitchen, a woman's place is the kitchen. They need to be found doing plates and stuff like that. When it comes to going to school, the focus is mainly on a boy child. How have you find it easier to disseminate information when it comes to those parts?
Yeah, so in those parts, actually what we are doing is for children, we follow them in different schools. Yeah, we go there, we talk to the school managers to say we want to disseminate information. We educate our fellow young men and women out there about gender issues, because we have seen that cultural issues actually affects a lot. You find that each department, or I can say each part of Zambia, has got its own cultural issues. So you find that for girl children, there are those that are being told to say, no, your place is just the kitchen, your place is just this. So in some other places you find that men are the ones that are being performing the farming issues. So those are problems that we are finding there. So with cultural issues, I'm sure what we can do is we need to face chiefs in Zambia, because each location, like I've said, has got this one cultural and norms as well. So we need to face them so that we educate them. Once we educate the chiefs, then they will be able also to educate their people that they are keeping in different chiefdoms.
Interesting, quite interesting. In case you're joining us this morning, we are talking about gender and development, and in studio we are joined by Ambassador of National Youth and Community Welfare, President Collins Mulomba. Oh, sorry, I keep on mispronouncing your name. I hope I'm not sued for that. Mulomba, quite nice. But anyway, when it comes to, we have seen, different policies being put in place to ensure that there's gender equality and equity, but most of the times, it's like this, it does not tarry into action. The policy speaks otherwise, and the action again is the otherwise. What do you think can be the problem?
Yeah, like I've said, I'm sure the main problem is that we lack information. Yeah, information must be disseminated to everyone so that they get it. Of course, Constitution has a lot about both men and women, but we don't implement. Yeah, it's like we are having a vision without action. Because if I have a vision without action, I'll be just passing time. And then if I have that action without vision, it's just a daydreaming. But if I have action with a vision, for sure I'll be able to change the country. Because action and vision must run together. So we need to walk the talk. If we say we need to empower women, we shouldn't just remain in words. This must be put in action. We see that for sure women empowerment is there. And we can do this by making sure that we sensitize the importance of inclusiveness. Because if everybody is getting included in each and every processes of governance, then you even be able to see that we get better as Zambians. I know there are a lot that we have in Zambia, and for us, because of course we call ourselves as independent, but the only question that I ask myself is, are we economically independent or we are just politically independent? Because the independent which is there, which we call ourselves, is just political. It's political independent, but economically we are still very far. We are not supposed to be buying things, actually, waiting things from South Africa, waiting things from different countries, and we are busy calling ourselves as an independent country. No, that one, I always say that we are not economically independent, we are just politically independent.
Yeah. What would you suggest that we do for us to become economically independent? Because just like you have mentioned, as of now, we are only politically free, independent. Yes. So that has been the advocacy. What do you think we are missing? What are we missing for us to be economically independent?
Yeah, for sure. Like you talked about earlier, change of mindset has to be there. Because this blame, I cannot put it on the government side, no. It's on ours. As ourselves, we are the problems. Because we are such type of a people who just wait for free things to come in. We don't think beyond. If you look at entrepreneurship, people are busy saying, no, we want to do this and this and this. If I start buying things from Tanzania, I come back, I sell. That is not entrepreneurship. That's a business which I'm doing. So, if I want to be an entrepreneur, I need to think. I need to be innovative. I need to be creative. What is that which people are lacking in this particular province? Because once you discover, you scan the environment, you'll be able to know what is on demand in that particular province or district. So all we need is just the mindset. And there, we'll be working with the government, because that's where we can say that it's like maybe we are trying to help also the government so that we work together, and then we also develop Zambia together. Because it's not only the government is just there to facilitate. Yeah, we have the president of Zambia, of course, is there to make sure that maybe he talk to some other nations, rich developed nations, so that they help us. But what we are lacking here is industrialization, where we can even involve now those that stopped in grade 7, those that stopped in grade 9, and also grade 12s. We can involve them, and through that we can develop, because a lot will be done. Each one of us will be able to bring food on the table.
Do you think we are focusing more on building shopping malls than going in the industrialization way as a country?
Yeah, I'm sure that is what is common now. Yeah, like where I'm coming from, Kabwe, that's the provincial headquarter for Central Province. We have industries that have remained dormant for so long. And those industries, if they were revamped, we'll find that a lot of youths will be employed. And then if one is being employed, actually will be keeping him or herself busy. And after maybe some few months, he or she can start doing a business. So that that person becomes now with actually two sources of income. He's working, he's getting something from work, and he's also doing business. Yeah. So that with that, actually, it can help Zambia to even get better. That one, in that way, we can do actually a lot as Zambians, and we can see that Zambia has developed a lot.
We are talking about mindset change. There's a say. Let me just use Nyanja. Kando longatia kula kudala kankadayo benda. When you try to stretch it, imatioka. Or chimtengo chikakula sunga chiondolole utumichipange straight. You need to do it while it's young. So do you think maybe we should shift our focus instead from the old folks, and then now start, you know, growing the younger ones, the ones that are coming up, inculcating this information in them, telling them what to do, like in terms of gender roles, gender development? Do you think we should start with the kids, because the old people are already there, and somehow it's kind of difficult or it's challenging to pass this information to them, because they're already used to doing things the same way, they're already used to doing things, sometimes there's a pattern that they're following. So do you think we should forget about the old folks for now and then focus on the younger ones?
Okay, I've liked the example that I've given. May I say, teach the child, so that it will become unnecessary to teach an odd. Yeah. So our focus for now must be on the children. Yeah, let's actually talk to them nicely. Let's be discussing with them on the important issues that can help Zambia to develop. And then for the odd ones, of course, it's difficult for them to change the mindset. But there are some who are able again, because people change through the environment. Yeah, you know, environment plays actually a very, very important role in maybe someone's life. Because we find that if I move from Kawa, today I'm in Lusaka, I'll be acting like the Lusaka people. But when I go back to Kawa, I'll be acting like Kawa people. Yeah, so we are not limited. Yeah, we can change. And I'm sure change is inevitable, as you know. That's the only constant thing which is there, is change.
Change, yeah.
Yes. So we can change. We can still be talking to old ones as well. Yeah, we teach them, although it's difficult for them to change, but there comes a time when they can actually change. But the focus must be on the children, those who are still growing up. We need to exchange information with them.
You earlier spoke about your organization focusing on street children. That is one of the areas that you also look at. As at the moment, when you assess the situation currently in the country, do you think we are doing enough as a country when it comes to policymakers, our civic leaders, in addressing issues that have to do with street children?
Yeah, as I can talk of local government, because local government and then also Ministry of actually Community Development and Social Welfare. These are ministries which are supposed to do much when it comes to streetism. But what has been there is that I don't know what is in their minds, because they have been seeing that the problem actually is just actually growing in Zambia. I'm sure you can feel pity when you go to Kawe, you go to Kapiri, you go to even here actually within Lusaka, there are a lot of street kids. But those people, they are people who are even able to change. We have different departments, especially defense, because some of the street kids, what we are finding there is that some completed their grade 12 secondary education, some have completed even tertiary education, but they are there. So what we are doing as an organization when it comes to street kids, of course we are not capable enough as an organization because we are starting, but we have a link. We get some and then we link them to different actually departments. Like as of now, we have HELSB, where we linked about 100, and actually there are more than the people that we have taken through that board. There are more than 500, because at Nkwame Nkrumah we have 116, at Ivering Horn we have some, Chalimbana we have, even Copper Belt University at the University of Zambia, we have a lot of students that we have linked. And not only to those, to that department.
So these students were once street children?
Yes. Most of them were once street children. Okay, there are three forms of streetism. There are those that work on the streets, yeah, just to earn a living, maybe where food is concerned. And then there are also those who are born from from there. So with those, especially young ones, 5-year, maybe 7-year-old, those ones we are taking them to different orphanages. We know that there is free education. Some we are taking them to different actually institutions of general education, so that they get that quality education. And they are not difficult. Those people are not difficult to change. Of course, there are those, especially the odd ones. Them, they are difficult to change. But find ways of talking to them. That's what we do if we are to mobilize them. We just go there. We say, guys, Tina Tuma Sweets. Get this, get this. They will come, and then we start interacting with them. Once we start interacting with them, we find out what makes them to be there. Because it's not that maybe poverty is the only one which is making them to be found on the streets. Some, they have a lot of issues. Nothing to do like with poverty.
You know, there's this one last time I was listening to one of the radio programs where a young child, a street child, was interviewed by this presenter. I think the boy was somewhere 9, somewhere there. Yeah. So he was asked a question, and then he said, I'm from the Copper Belt. Then, you're from the Copper Belt, what are you doing in Lusaka? And then he said, my friends told me that we should board the bus and go and make money in Lusaka. Yeah, like you just go in Lusaka from all the way from Copper Belt, Katamanda, you board the bus. You are only told to go and make money in Lusaka by way of begging on the street. In this, it doesn't matter. And you know, this is a child who is only 10 years, 9 years. They're very, very young. Yeah. How? You know, what do they want the money for? There are other people who are responsible for them. Those are the questions that
one would ask.
Exactly.
So we need to do much. Actually, as an organization, we are working on that. And we are trying to make sure that we involve the government, because ours is just to supplement. We cannot finish all, but we have that potential. We say to ourselves that we'll do whatever it takes so that we end streetism. And that's where our main focus is. Because if we end streetism, we have even clean towns in Zambia. Municipal councils will be doing very fine. Now you find that a lot of street children in different locations of Zambia. This also hinders development, because Mudesa Mukusangati, they do different things. Of course, in the light time, you see them as good like they look. But when it's night, they become bad people, because that's how they end life. So if we are to remove them from the streets, we need to think of what should we give them. There are those who are odd. Those who are odd, let's give them job. They won't understand education. They won't. But those young ones, if we are to take them back to school because of this so-called free education, they will understand. We just need to interact with them in a normal way. But if you follow them by harsh, they are harsh as well. Yes.
Do you think them being harsh is something to do? Sometimes maybe others are suffering from some sort of disorders that they have, or maybe it's just a personal decision that they make to say they just want to be on the streets, or some it's just something related to do with mental issues.
Yeah, like I've said, there are a lot of causes which leads them to be on the street. Some is poverty, and then some is physique, whereby maybe a parent has become lame. They just develop that feeling of like they are not being looked after. And then some you find that is personal inadequacies. And then for those who are coming, because what we have found is there are some who are coming from very rich families, but they are found on the street. So sometimes it's parental, actually. There is this which we call the value placed on the sex of the child. You find that the sibling relationship, the birth order, we have firstborn, we have secondborn, we have whatever, to the lastborn. So you find that there is this family which likes maybe the firstborn, and then the lastborn is being neglected. So you or she won't be feeling that good. You will be feeling actually bad to say, why me, I'm always left in programs. So why is it like this? Maybe I'm not born here. And then they will decide to go on the street. Because that one is the main cause, according to what we have found in our researches. Yeah, you find that value placed on the sex of the child is something difficult actually nowadays. This is something which is trending. You find that males are being favored as compared to females. Yeah, at a certain home. Then you find that in some, females are being favored most as compared to males. So as a result, vazambochoka pa nyumba vamboenda chanchani.
In search of love.
Yes. So those are the things that happens.
When it comes to dealing with street children, how have you find it easier? I know most of the times you find that they're taking drugs. Okay, yes, in terms of when you approach them, trying to convince them to venture into some of your programs, how have you find it easier? And do you have certain programs that they undergo through? Because most of the time you find maybe someone has abused that drugs for a period maybe of a year or two, and then somehow maybe others, I don't know, they might not be mentally okay somehow and do things wrongly. How have you put in place certain programs, and how do you just try to help them in those areas?
Yeah, in those areas actually we teach them about the problems of substance abuse. Yeah, we get them, we talk to them. Sometimes one-on-one makes sense to them, because if you call them as a group when it comes to substance abuse, they get,
you just waste your time.
Yes, but call them one by one. We normally sit at Civic Center there in Cabo, because they're a lot, they just surround Civic Center. So we go one by one. Why do you take that? No, you know, I feel like I can enhance my knowledge through this whatever. Then we say, no, you can't enhance your knowledge.
Wrong information.
Yes, wrong information about it. And then through that interaction, we tell them, you know what, this which you are taking has got effects. And if you are to stop, you can even become a better person. Do you want to be seen like this always? Then Kaisa Kovanga Kamacha, no. Because when we are passing through, they just go, whenever they see us, maswits if ever fire by Chevadia. Once you are kushitanga two maswits, you basically provide solutions to those street children, and they are not difficult to change. And give them their ages actually. If you want to approach them, if they are odd, get somebody who is odd.
Okay.
So that that interaction will be heard. If the child is young, we have some young children, we talk to them, go and interact with that person. Through that, I'm telling you, they are able to change now. There are some that have changed. We have 17 of them that we have taken to a Hope VD, actually private school in mine area, Kasanda mine area. The first part is you are entering Cabo, that's where they are. And those guys, we thought it would be difficult for them to change, but it never took time. They changed there and then. So where we have taken them, we are providing everything for them.
Okay, so do you have like professional counselors in your organization that sit down? Because I understand dealing with somebody who's into drugs, you can't deal with them with an ordinary mind. You need somebody who will deal with them mentally, psychologically. So do you have like professional counselors, professional therapists that just help in sitting down with them and making these children open up and talk about their stories with you?
Yeah, for sure. Like I've told you, we are coming from different faculties. Yeah, me myself, I'm a counselor as well, by profession. I had to start that with Chainama College of Health Sciences. And we also have a lot of counselors coming from different departments, because we are also involving health centers. Yeah, there are those people who have done health programs, so they are coming in. So we do have peer educators, we do have counselors, we do have teachers, we do have people from different actually faculties, so that we see how we can help these people. We provide that much needed counseling and also guidance to them.
The government through ZNS, They have been running this program for quite some time, where they would get children from the street and then, you know, empower them with various skills. Do you think that is working? Is it tiring in terms of addressing issues of streetism in the country?
Yeah, of course, it is tiring, but what I can say is that one is a mere talk. It's a mere achievement, because this is what I've seen. You know, even when we launched this same organization, we looked at those organizations and also departments of government that looks after street children. We had to actually to invite them. So there is this one who came from Kawes ZNS school, Mr. Shanda. By then he was the commander. So we called him, because we have seen a lot. They say they are getting people from the streets. But those people that are there, they are not street children. So we don't know where they do get them from. Because if they say they have that program of involving street children, to put them into different programs, they should mean it. We need to see them going around on the streets to pick those people. We even witness to say these people are being taken to this school under ZNS. Because we know that ZNS is the one which is in charge. But that one, I can assure you that it's a mere achievement. The people who are in these different schools for ZNS, they are not street. It's not everyone who is a street child. Most of them, they are coming from rich families, so I don't know what they mean. If the street children, those people can come from actually better homes, I don't know. Because we need to see them going, like we are being seen to go there in different councils and also towns to make sure that we pick. If it's to disseminate information, we disseminate. That's what we are doing. But with ZNS, in front of actually the commander we called, I talked about it, that what we want is sanity, unity and togetherness, love as well, will make us to develop as a country. Let's mean whatever we say. If we say that we are aiming at eradicating streetism, we need to mean it. Let's go around. Let us be seen to say this is what we are doing. So with ZNS, I'm challenging them to say they should work and they should mean their words to say they want to eradicate streetism as well.
Interesting. I hope they have heard that advice as well as a concern just raised by you there. But my other question is, in as much as you are trying to, to help these street children go back to school or being put in different programs, to gain these entrepreneurship skills, do you at the end of the day try to link them back to their families where they're coming from?
Yeah, for sure, especially those that are odd. Once we pick them from there, we interact with them. We do ask them, where do you come from? Some they say, like in Kabwe, because I'm staying there, so most of the examples will be coming from the same place. You'll find that some they say Katondo, and then some Makululu, because as you know, Makululu is the biggest common, like even in Africa. Yeah, so it has a lot of people, and you find that Makululu is facing a lot of problems, despite actually the initiatives coming from the government that has to do with the CDF and whatever. So we do actually go there, we make sure that we educate them, they involve themselves, in those activities. But we need to do much actually if we are to change actually, or maybe to eradicate streetism. Yeah.
Okay, so your organization is quite doing a lot. I must recommend what you're doing, but do you also partner with other organizations or any government institutions to make sure that information is being disseminated?
Just to hold your thoughts.
We have a caller. Hello.
Hello, madam.
Good morning, sir. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, I'm David from Dollar.
Oh, how is Ndola this morning, sir?
Dollar is quite fine.
Okay, please go ahead with your comments or contributions.
Yes, so I'm going to the gentleman saying the internet is doing nothing over the same program. Yeah, there was one time when I witnessed also speaking of the street kids, there was a tax which came and they took the street kids in India and they were taken to, I don't know if it was Bata, I think it was Bata, Yes, that's where they went to stay. So me, I saw them doing the same activity. Now, I don't know if he doesn't know that.
His concern is mainly that the focus is not much on the street children, in as much as they are picking, but the focus is not mainly on the street children. They also pick children from other homes who are coming from well-to-do families. That's his concern.
Okay.
Are you able to touch on that?
No. I see so that's why I was.
Okay, thank you so much for your contribution.
Okay, thank you.
All right. It seems people have understood your point on a different. Maybe you might just want to retract your thoughts.
No, actually, yeah, he heard that, but what I'm saying is that many emphasis has to be put as regards to street children. Yeah, we need to mean the weights, like I've said. That one still stands. Because we have seen that whenever there is maybe recruitment for street children, we do see some people again coming from well-to-do families to be included as street children. So what we want is, if there is a recruitment for those street children, let them mean to say this one is basically for street children. We see them even picking. Of course, he has alluded to say he has seen some. That's very good if he saw it, but if he's just maybe defending, then it becomes a problem. Because what we want is to see. If he had to see it, we need to see it as well through the media, because they need to go to the media and put it on record in public domain to say this is what we have done.
Okay, yeah, maybe your concluding remarks when we talk about gender and development in the country.
Yeah, of course, like I said in my preamble, all what we need as a nation is to change the mindset. We need to change the mindset in order for us to develop Zambia together. If I want to change myself, I want to change my community, I want to change my workplace, I need to be the change that I would like to see in the world. So we can develop actually gender by making sure that we consider both in all the departments. We provide equal opportunities, we provide equal rights to everyone. Actually, to everyone depending on the place where he or she is coming from. Because we have seen that a lot of people are being sidelined, especially in rural areas. They don't even know about their own rights. They are not being taught to say, these are your rights, your freedoms, whatever. They are not. So, hence, you find that they can't even make an effort to involve themselves in different activities so that we develop Zambia. So, let's just remain united and also promote love, togetherness. With that, we'll be able to develop as a country, Zambia. And let's not be dependent on the government of the day. Let's be innovative and also creative in order for us to change actually at individual level and also national level.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Interesting. This is where we come to the end of our program this morning. In studio, we were joined by ambassadors of National Unit and Community Welfare, President Collins Mulomba. I hope I said it correctly.
Yes.
But anyway, and we're looking at gender and development with myself, Miriam Kaimba, and my colleague, Amazing Katamanda. It's bye-bye. See you tomorrow, the same time. Stay blessed.